Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Sports on Sunset. We're back outdoors. Why, thank you for the gentle presentation. Yes,
Flourish.
It's a flourish. Yeah, we're not ashamed of our level of masculinity not to show a flourish. I'm James Jericho.
I'm Jeremy Paul.
That's my man. The reason that we're happy again to be outside, of course, last couple of weeks it's been raining like hell. It's threatening rain, but we're okay. And unfortunately, some of our viewers were kind enough to let us know that in the tape I looked a lot like him. It was that dark. And you know, I love you like a brother, but
You don't want to be a brother.
well, more than that, I mean, you're pretty dark. You kind of make Wesley Snipes look like Mario Van Peebles. So
Mario Van Peebles is dark.
I don't know.
You're thinking Melvin.
Oh, maybe, but I just know I dropped 2 New Jack City references in one sentence, so I'm
You
pretty
didn't say
happy
Ice
about
T.
that.
You said
No, that would have been obvious. That would have been obvious. It would have been derivative. Yeah, F me. Guys, because we like to go off the beaten path with what we talk about, we're going with women's sports. It was brought to my attention that this is the 40th anniversary of Title IX.
June 17th, right? Or June 23rd?
Well, I don't remember the exact date. I can tell you that it's a 37-word piece of legislation signed into law by, of all people, Richard Nixon. And of course, over time, it evolved. The fun thing about it, I've done my research over the last few days. One of the things that, in the 37 words, this was originally not a sports or athletics document, and yet it has done things which we're going to debate about, good or bad, with regards to women's athletics. I'm going to give you the floor first. Why don't you tell me what you think has happened as a result of the passage and the revisions of Title IX?
What I think has happened is that more women have had the chance to go to college, succeed in life, and ultimately just get ahead, because without Title IX, there wouldn't be equal amount of sports being done in high school or in college, which means that less women will go to college on sports scholarships or track scholarships, basketball, baseball, softball, every other sport that they were excluded from back in the 60s, 50s, everything that they were stopped from doing would not have happened without Title IX, I believe.
Okay. Now, can you give me, and we haven't talked about this before, by the way, we disagree on this, and I'll tell you why in a moment, but you went to Southern Illinois, I believe?
That is correct. Southern Illinois University of Carbondale, not Edwardsville, Carbondale.
For those of you who give a shit, the reason I bring it...
One has a great basketball team, the other one is Carbondale.
Yeah. Again, for those of you who give a shit. Because I'm willing to listen to the other side, I'd like to find out, you have an example from your own... I went to a Division II school, Division III when I went there. You're Division I, I believe. Give me an example of a Title IX success story that you can, if possible. Do you have any? Because again, I want you to have I want a fair shake here.
Title IX success story?
Yeah.
The women's track team.
How so?
Well, there is one.
When did they start having it?
I'm not completely certain, but I think it was early 80s.
Okay.
That they began. I'm not completely sure. It might be late 70s, early 80s. But the fact is, without Title IX, the women that I met that played women's track, I would not have met.
What?
Because they would have been at some other school.
Did you meet them? And
no, I didn't meet them.
Okay, I was going to say, if we're going to start about knowing them biblically.
No.
Okay.
Hey, ladies. they're on my Facebook.
So, secondary question with regards to that: was there a men's track team, but not a women's track team prior to that?
No, there's always been a men's track team.
Okay. Here's where I disagree with you.
Dick Gregory
or disagree. That's another topic for a show we'll never do. Here's where I disagree. Look, I truly believe that women's sports have grown over the last, regardless, it always grows, whatever. And I want to be careful here not issuing any cheap jokes. This is not about whether or not women's sports are fun or entertaining or where women belong. That's not the point at all. My belief that women's sports has grown, the exponential growth, particularly over the last decade, has been primarily a result of 24-hour cable television coverage. They need the programming. They have to fill it with something. Fox, ESPN, they just simply can't rerun games time and time again, so they needed stuff, and thankfully women's sports have filled that bill. My issue with Title IX is that, in my arrogant little opinion, and I'm not necessarily saying everything is going to be precise here, but it was a solution in search of a problem. Here's why. It's a 37-word statement slipped into an omnibus education bill. The author of Title IX went out of her way to tell all people interested to stay away from Washington and not talk about it. I have a fundamental problem when things are inserted into laws and are never brought up. That's inherently, patently dishonest. I've got a problem with that. In addition to that, over the years, it was, as originally stated, as you know, it was part of education. It was not a sports bill. It had evolved. The primary reason it evolved, and it had bipartisan support, Republican, Democrat, according to the author, because the politicians had kids who were consistently getting picked last in team sports. Oh, that's great. So in other words, your kid wets his pants playing dodgeball, so we have to reinvent the entire system. That's a great idea. Thirdly, it has a three-pronged test in the law. Now, I have a problem with two of them. The third I'm not so sure about. Sports participation proportional to female enrollment. That's a quota. I'm not a big guy on quotas. You have to demonstrate a history of expanding offerings for women. When does the expansion stop?
The expansion stops when there are, well, you already stated you hate quotas.
Yeah.
That's the other quota.
Here's something that I'm kind of okay with. I'm pretty much okay with. The interests and abilities of female athletes must be fully and effectively accommodated. Here's where I'm coming with this. After I left high school, there were a bunch of girls at my high school who played girls soccer very well. They went to the high school, they went to the principal, and then they went to the school district. We want a girls soccer team and a girls soccer league. They got it. I'm suggesting that when you want girls, or whether or not it's girls or boys, particular sport, it doesn't have to be a girls sport. It could be badminton for all I care. It could be whatever, highlight. You take it to your school, you take it to your district, and you build it bottom up, not top bottom.
The issue with that was that they were saying no. School districts were saying no.
Right, I understand that.
It didn't matter how many women would show up.
Or were they?
Well, they were.
Well, they were. Maybe some were, but here's my other issue with it. In order, by the way, credit ESPN for bringing it up. Other major media networks did not. Here's the issue. Participation is up, but how do we know that's legal? How do we know that's not sociological? Expansion of population, expansion, in other words, not because of the law, but simply because humanity itself grows. And of course, coverage, i.e. cable TV. In order to prop its story, ESPN touted champions such as Billie Jean King, Donna DiVerona, and Cheryl Miller. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Donna DiVerona, champion in 1964. That's before Title IX. Billie Jean King before Title IX. And Cheryl Miller scored 100 points in a girls' basketball game. Granted, that was after Title IX. My argument is there's no way in hell that talent that good keeps being hidden. There's no way. Oh, and they also mentioned FloJo. We have been dominant in women's track way before Title IX. Way before it.
True, very true.
Brittany Griner, who you love, and I don't have a problem with her, is not an example of the greatness of Title IX. She is an example of her own athletic expertise.
What about Candace Parker?
I do not have a frame of reference. I know who she plays for. I know she's in the WNBA, but I can't argue that at this time.
Without Title IX, Candace Parker would be
How do you know?
The best cheerleader for her brother.
How do you know? How do you know she doesn't go to a school where they do offer girls basketball? Girls basketball was not outlawed before Title IX.
True, but she probably would not have made it.
Because talent like that does not stay hidden. That's my argument. Oh, and by the way, when you pass laws like that and you don't debate them, the unintended consequences are proportional. And I have to end on this so I can go on. Sorry. a lot of these sub sports, and I don't mean sub as in inferior, I mean in terms of profitability, and that includes men's sports, they have to be funded by sports that are profitable. Football. In other words, and of course in some cases men's basketball. In other words, to pay for lesser attended sports.
Lacrosse.
I am arguing.
Tennis.
I am arguing. Oh, by the way, Billie Jean King again. I am arguing that all those, I believe, football players and the players for profitable sports should be paid.
Most certainly.
But their money is going to pay for women's athletics. Why? Because of Title IX.
They're going to pay for all of athletics.
Yeah, but they're
not
paying.
Just women's.
Not it, but unfortunately, they have to make up for the money.
They got to pay for
teams.
Who's going to the men's soccer game?
I agree, but again, I didn't say that men's soccer was profitable. I'm saying that the burden becomes even heavier because of Title IX. So with that said, I didn't argue that.
I know. I'm just saying.
Why don't you tell them what's on your mind, dude?
What's on my mind is what's been on my mind for like the last 5 years now. ESPN has ownership of Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football was on network television for 30 plus years. Really?
Yeah.
And suddenly, because ESPN has thrown millions of dollars at the National Football League, Paul Tagliabue and Roger Goodell, respectively, ESPN now has ownership of that, which means you have to buy cable just to watch Monday Night Football now. You've had to buy ESPN just to watch football, where it should be on national television, not national cable television. You got to pay $45 just to watch the Cleveland Browns on Monday Night Football? Who wants to pay that kind of money? I don't have that kind of money to waste on Monday Night Football. I can't afford to go to a football game. Fuck Monday Night Football. Fuck ESPN. Oh, get off me, man. They took this. I don't have a TV now. I don't have a TV because I can't afford ESPN. I broke my fucking TV when I heard that ESPN owns Monday Night Football. John Madden. No more John Madden. What? Fuck you, Roger Goodell. Fuck you, Paul Tagliabue. Fuck both of you. I hope you both turn over and piss in your graves. Motherfuckers. Fuck ESPN. Fuck Stuart Scott. Fuck Chris Berman. Fuck all of you guys, man. I want Monday Night Football back on national television. I don't want to pay. I'm tired of paying. My rent is too damn high. I'm done.
Guys, here's the deal. Whenever you base your sports purely on emotion, I mean, as a fan, that's one thing, but you still have to use your head. And because of that, I'm incredibly skeptical of the incoming ownership of the Los Angeles Dodgers. People have been making an emotional case to get rid of Frank McCourt and to bring in Magic Johnson, which of course has both happened. And I don't have much of an issue with the idea of Frank McCourt leaving. I mean, let's be honest, once his wife found an inability to keep her legs closed to limo drivers, you knew the writing was on the wall. But with that said, Magic Johnson, God love him, is wealthy beyond all of our imaginations. He is an example for the HIV community to emulate and respect. I'm saying that, and yeah, it's good to know I can make you laugh after that rant. But in all honesty, while he makes money, he has a horrible track record as a businessman and as a performer off the basketball court.
In person.
I do not want to see Sheila E. and Tommy Davidson doing the PA announcing for Dodger games. I don't want to sit. Look, if you want to have a bad cup of coffee, go to Magic Johnson's Starbucks. If you have a streak of if they're made of brass, go to Magic Johnson Theaters after the sun goes down. And oh, by the way, if you want the worst workout in your life, oh my God, Magic Johnson 24-hour fitness, that thing is a piece of shit. It's the worst workout you will ever have. Everything is falling apart. Everybody in there looks like they just got let out of Folsom. It is a miserable fucking experience. And now you're going to sit there and tell me that this guy is going to do a better job of protecting fans in the stadium and the parking lot than the McCourts did? Ha! Sure. Oh, and by the way, they paid twice as much as what the going rate was for the team. The next highest bidder was apparently 700 to 800 million less than the $2 billion that they offered Frank McCourt. How in the blue hell are they going to be able to make this team compete on the long term? I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm saying be skeptical, because you should be. Just because you love the way he led the Showtime Lakers does not make him an ideal baseball owner. Guys, thanks for hearing us out.
HIV. I'm James.